There you go. Yep, perfect. Just like that. Once I'm there, my tourniquet is set up how I need it to be. Now I just have to fold it to where I can deploy it easily. All I'm gonna do is fold the buckle behind the windlass and then the Velcro on top of the non-Velcro side, where it looks just like this. Everybody there? Anybody get lost? Once we're there, we're gonna take that tab, open it up all the way. Take that tab, we're just gonna fold it to where it's hanging on the same side, slightly over that edge, and Velcro it on itself. That way, whenever we pull it, like I said, there's a little pull tab, we can easily grab it. Everybody good? There we go. Now our tourniquets are set up how we want them for quick access and quick deployment. North American Rescue teaches a very similar method, because I do it this way where the buckle's on top. This little buckle right here is on top, and it comes down on the non-Velcro side, so I can easily just drop it. North American Rescue, buckle's on bottom, Velcro's on bottom, and they Velcro to itself so it sticks together. But this, in my opinion, is good. It's still ready in a good position. The only difference is it's a little bit slower depending on the situation, because now I have to remember to pop it open. It takes just fractions longer than just being able to drop it and it's open. Does that make sense? So that's why I do it this way. Remember this most important part, which is red towards the heart. Okay, I'm always putting red towards the heart. So when I go on, I'm going high and tight, as high as I can in that extremity, whether that be the arm or whether that be leg. All right, just watch out for goodies for dudes, okay? That wouldn't feel great. Anyway, high and tight, whichever extremity you decide to go towards, pull in, popping that Velcro off, tighten it down. Now I can take that windlass out, tighten it down, put it back in the windlass trap, and then close it off. You got that pull tab, and always remember red is towards the heart when you're self-applying a tourniquet. Again, it doesn't really matter if you're putting it on somebody else, because you're able to move around and do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about it being hard to tighten. Now, a couple questions I got is people are having trouble turning it when it landed in their armpit, right? That's something to keep in mind when you're putting the tourniquet on. If I'm tightening it down, turn it, and it happens to turn on me and ends in my armpit. One, it makes it harder for me to tighten it down, especially if I'm a bigger person. It's harder for me to reach and really get some Velcro traction. And it's also harder for me to turn the windlass, because now I'm having to work around my armpit as opposed to just being out here and being able to turn it as tight as I need it. So always make sure when it's at least outside of your armpit, nice, high and tight, you have some Velcro traction. If you're still having trouble, get as much as you can, close it off with your armpit. All right, use your body to your advantage. Don't be afraid to put on a tourniquet. It's not gonna cause you to lose your limb. Make sure you have it, make sure you have it with you, make sure you know how to use it. Also, like I said earlier, it's very perishable. If you don't practice with it, you forget how to use it. You gotta keep practicing with this stuff, okay? These are training tourniquets. You can buy them very cheap on Amazon. Make sure you know the difference between training tourniquet and actual tourniquet. You don't wanna get a knockoff tourniquet, end up getting something like this and have to use it in real life. Otherwise, something like, that could happen very easily. The level of tightness that you have for the tourniquet depends on the situation. Tourniquet is needed when you have spurting or spitting blood at you. That means you've severed an artery, whether it be femoral, whether it be brachial, you sever an artery and you have spurting, squirting blood out. You need a tourniquet, you need to cut that artery off. You know that tourniquet is on properly and tight enough whenever that spurting stops. When that stops, it's tight enough. Usually it doesn't take a lot of pressure because you get bones in there. Squeeze it down, it's gonna be tight, they're gonna hurt, they're probably gonna scream, they're probably gonna think you're breaking their arm. That just means it's tight enough, and that means it's working. If I got a bigger limb and I'm putting a tourniquet on, one tourniquet may not be enough to cut that artery off. It may have slowed down, but it's still bleeding significantly. So I can go grab a second tourniquet, put it right up next to that current tourniquet, tighten it down until the bleeding stops. Because now I've already somewhat closed off that space with that first one. Now I can continue closing off that space with the second one. The reason I say high and tight with tourniquets is because you don't have to think at that point. Again, your heart rate's through the roof, your stress is through the roof, fine motor skills go, thinking goes. Right? If you're not trained to act accordingly and act on second nature, you're gonna have to think. If you have to think, you have to slow down. Slowing down causes time causes blood, you lose more blood, you die, right? So take that thinking out of the situation. Just go high and tight on the limb. Sometimes you may not be able to see the wound. You may not see that injury, especially if there's blood everywhere and it's nighttime. So don't sit there and try to find the injury, because it may be down here. If it is, oh well, still go high and tight, because then you know for a fact you're cutting off that blood flow to this arm. find the injury later, reassess, and if you realize it was just a bunch of skin tore off the arm and not an artery issue, it's less than 2 hours, you can take that tourniquet off, reassess, wound pack, pressure bandage, get that person to the hospital without a tourniquet on.
Are you telling me you're going to see? Don't go. Yeah, I can't get it all the way around.
See how it's a little more difficult because this was over here?
Yeah.
So if you have an opportunity, try to keep it
Oh,
up here
I
instead
see.
of down here. It's harder to turn it if it's hitting your arm.
That,
You got all you need is right here.
We can stick right here.
Oh,
Watch this.
okay. It's all the way around, and it was not. My arm would not feel
That's
it.
why you want to keep this in this area. When you get
Okay.
into here, now you got reach issues, especially if you're a bigger person. You got reach issues, or you got to where you're turning it and it keeps getting caught in your armpit. You're like
Yeah.
trying to get around it.
Right.